Hey, hi everyone, this is Vanisha, and in today's video, we're going to see how to use the request validation policy available in API management. Let me just show you a demo of how this policy works. So we can select the request validation policy here. So as the name indicates, this policy is used to validate the incoming HTTP request based on the rules which you specify here. So let me just show you the use case which I have. Um, I have this sample API which is hosted on my gateway, and it has a query parameter, something like this. So I want the end users to always, try to fetch the course's information by passing this query param, which is a mandatory field. So if any user tries to hit my API without supplying this course ID field, and also it has to be a numeric value. So if they do not enter this field with a valid numeric value, or in that scenario, I want to throw up a 400 status code along with a customized error message um, for the end user. So let's see how to achieve this using the request validation policy. So I'll just give name to my policy here, my rec test 2024. I'll select the HTTP method which I want. So here in my case, it is uh, post. The scope of the policy would be the request. And this is a status code which I want to send to my end customer if the request fails the validation. So this 400 code, which indicates a bad request. I'll just leave it that as default. Um, so the rules, whatever you specify here, they follow the expression language. So you'll have to adjust your syntax based on what you're going to validate. So here in my case, I'm going to validate the request parameters. So request params, and this is my parameter name, course ID. So this parameter is always required. So I will leave this as required. And if this parameter, so on this mandatory parameter, I want to validate the value of this course ID parameter. So I'll select the pattern constraint here. And in my case, the course ID should only accept numeric values. So we can use a syntax, um, something like this, which allows only numeric values. So in case the user is not entering the course ID query param, or if they're not providing the numeric values, you have to return a custom error message. So which would be uh, please enter the valid course ID and retry hitting the API. So this would be my custom error message. So I'll just save this, and I will assign this API to, sorry, this policy to my courses API. I'll click on add and search for my API here. So courses, and I want to validate the value that is coming after my base URL. So I just put a wildcard there. And I want to apply this policy after, sorry, before request and before standard policies. So you can select this based on your requirements. I'll just go with this one. So this is now saved. So let's go back to Postman and try hitting the API. I will remove the course ID parameter, which is a mandatory parameter. So this is an invalid request, and our policy should validate this request and throw an error. So let's see. So there you go. You are seeing a 400 bad request, and the message says, please enter the valid course ID and retry hitting the API. So I will enter the course ID. And okay, let's see. So we are getting a 200, okay, because this is a valid ID. So let's say I have entered some invalid value. So ideally, this only accepts numeric values. So I've entered some random test um, text. So let's see. So there you go. Again, you're seeing the 400 bad request and the error message. Let's try another way. Let's try entering invalid query parameter altogether. The subject ID, I don't have. Let's see if this gets validated. So I've entered subject ID. But the API is expecting the course ID, which is a mandatory param. So we are seeing the 400 bad request and the error message again. So this is how you can use the request validation policy based on your requirement and try to validate your incoming API requests and configure the status code or error messages as per your requirement. And yeah, that's it for this video. I hope this information helps and thank you for watching. Bye.